In 1970, movie theaters were closing. And so I thought a movie theater would be an ideal building to have the type of business I have. I have dance supplies and costumes, and so I sent my husband out on a little hunt, and he found this theater in Valley Junction, this beat-up old theater, but it had a marquee out in front, which I thought was just marvelous. So we pursued it, and I bought it, and that's what brought me to Valley Junction. In 1970, I bought my first building. That was one of many buildings that I bought in the area. You know, originally it was a live theater and a hotel upstairs, and then the post office was on the side of it. But at that time, theaters were turning into XXX movie houses, and so the city was very concerned I was going to put a XXX movie house. So they were extremely pleased when I put in dance supplies and Halloween costumes. So that was a pleasant surprise to them. On Maple, in back of the theatrical shop, was the meat locker. And in back of the meat locker in the same building, they would slaughter animals there for the meat locker. And that was a little alarming at times. But I bought the meat locker and turned it into a sewing shop. Down in the corner was the West Des Moines Express. And I bought that building and turned it into a special effects. The one interesting project that my husband and I took on was Ilda's Lumber, and that was on the corner of 4th and Maple. And it had big open bins of lumber, and we bought the property, and we built 2 buildings with commercial real estate. In fact, this is one of them, on the first floor, and apartments on the second floor. And I think that was one of the nicest additions to the area, to change that lumber yard into 2 nice buildings. There was a merchants association, and what they were wanting to do is get more parking, because you cannot have a retail district without parking. So Tim Urban and Gary Davidson and my husband Jack Swander and the city all worked together, and they acquired parking on 6th Avenue, 6th Street, and 4th Street. Without that parking, I don't think Valley Junction would have been able to grow. I loved to play Monopoly as a child, and so I started playing it for real life. And the area was so charming to me. I mean, it was just a little town, and it had so much history, and it was just a charming little place. And I fell in love with it, and that's why I started buying so many of the properties. And you know, the area went from different phases. Like at one time we had several high-end dress shops. They sort of phased out, and art galleries. That was big in Valley Junction. And of course, we then went through the flood. They told us at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday that the flood was going to hit about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So I went around in the fun room, what we call the fun room, and stood up and said, okay, everyone, from here on down, we have to take everything out, because that's how high the water is going to be. So we were like a bunch of little ants taking all the merchandise out to a truck to take the truck to a higher ground. And when you look down in Valley Junction after the flood hit, it was like all these buildings. Valley Junction was sitting in a lake. We had 3.5, 4 feet in the theatrical shop. Of course, there were several things that were ruined, but it was, the cleanup, of course, was a big undertaking. But believe it or not, we had our door open 3 weeks after the water left, and we were making sales. We made it through that. And we're still here, and we have a tremendous mix of stores now. It's a very appealing shopping district for most people. One day I was having lunch with Jeff Pomerantz, and I started talking about City Hall, how much history there was here. The first jail, the first fire department, the first council chamber. And I said, you know, I said, the city of West Des Moines really should own that building. That building should belong to the city because it's part of the city. It was the very first city hall. And so after 5 years of getting it worked out, getting the money together, and so on and so forth, we were able to acquire, they were able to acquire City Hall, and they have just turned it into a beautiful, beautiful building. It's going to be a tremendous attraction to Valley Junction, and everyone that lives in West Des Moines can be very proud of the building. I am so thankful for all the help that everyone has given to making this possible.